going on, guys? Welcome back to a brand new video, and today is going to be Klopp's lethal 4-3-3 after many requests. I don't know how I've not done this video already, to be honest, but let's get into it. Firstly, if you are enjoying the content so far this year, be sure to leave a like, drop a little comment below, and be sure to subscribe to the channel. But we've got 4 teams to test with today, some powerhouses, some underdogs, all Rangers covered. Let's get into it. First up, and only fair, that is going to be his current team, Liverpool. Obviously, in the Premier League, everyone knows that. Do you know what? A very good season, though. Manchester City not enjoying the best season at all. Only picking up 82 points, and any Aston Villa fans in here, you're going to be loving it, because a second place finish, you can't complain. We come in with 99 points, though, which is absolutely incredible, alongside a winning Europa League against AS Roma. Again, a very tough competition, and playing Mourinho's Roma is not no easy job, so to do both in one season, we've got to take. Both English Cups didn't really go in our favour, but considering back on top in the Premier League, winning the European competition, I'm not going to complain at all. It's going to be big Darwin Núñez coming in with 41 goals, Mo Salah with a 7.9 average rating and picking up 28 assists, with Van Dijk completing 94% of his passes. We also scored 139 league goals. Overall, by the way, this tops 190 easily as a whole squad, as I will show you very shortly. And again, conceded just 21 with 0 red cards, so good discipline, good defending, good goals. We've got the ice to win trophies. It's looking good so far. I will say in terms of the stats, we're not going to feature in possession, as you wouldn't expect Liverpool to really do. We do feature, however, in most points per game, most goals, most shots for at 746, the fewest conceded, and the most clean sheets. So although we're not really going to have high levels of possession at all, as you can see, we are going to be very good at defending and scoring goals. Now, last time I checked, they're the 2 main things for football. Going over to the data hub, we're going to back that point up even more with 3.66 goals per game, conceded at 0.55, so way under a goal a game. Getting on for 20 shots a game at 19.63, an 86.82% pass completion, and a pretty much bang on 78% tackle win ratio. Now, going over to that squad screen, we are going to go by the top goal scorers first. That is going to be Darwin Núñez coming in with 41. Very close behind him is going to be Mo Salah coming in with 40, Diaz with 27, McAllister with 15, 13 for Jota, Van Dijk making most of them fantastic set pieces with 12 goals from those, Konate with 9 as well, Szoboszlai with 9, Thiago with 7, Gakpo with 6, Trent with 6, and a few lower ones down here. And if I'm right in saying that tallies up to over 190 goals as a team in the season, which is a really good stat line, to be honest. And it just shows the amount of different players that are going to be getting goals in this system. And the assists back up this point even more. We're going to see a lot of different players picking up the ball, picking up the assists. 28 from Salah, Szoboszlai with 25, 20 for Robertson, 16 for Diaz, Trent with 13, Núñez with 12, which again is good to see a striker doing that as well. 12 for McAllister, Thiago with 11, Carvalho having an okay season out on loan as well, which is not really relevant, but quite cool to see. Jota with 6, Konate with 3, Elliott with 3, so a lot of players getting involved with all sorts on the field, picking up the ball, getting assists, a lot of different goal scorers as well, but it's really positive to see your front 3 with 27, 40 and 41. It's incredible. Up next is going to be Borussia Dortmund, obviously in the Bundesliga, favoured to finish second over everyone, which, do you know what? We didn't like that. We didn't like that claim, as we come out and absolutely put on a display. Bayern Munich had quite an average season, as it is going to be RB Leipzig actually finishing in second place, a team which is very close to my heart. I love a bit of RB Leipzig, but we only lost 1 game across the entire season. We did draw 8, but again, doesn't really matter considering the sheer amount of points we did gather. And the one loss is going to be against Bayern, unfortunately. Of course it is. And do you know what? It's not just that we won. We also won the Pokal against Freiburg and got to the semi-finals of the Champions League, where unfortunately PSG were a little bit too much. We scored 104 league goals, conceded only 19, and again, 0 red cards, so quite a lot of discipline considering how intense this tactic actually is to play. Ademi comes in with 34 goals, and it is going to be Julian Brandt, a fantastic player with 24 assists, while it is going to be Matt Hummels, again, like Van Dijk, completing 94% of his passes. We are going to feature on a few more of the team stats across this league, actually being 7th for possession as well, with 54% of the ball, but it is going to be the most points per game, the most goals, the fewest conceded at 185, the most shots for at 639, the most clean sheets at 20, and also the fewest conceded at 19. So again, to put it in simple terms, we defend them well and we're scoring goals. That equals trophies. And going over to the data hub, a little bit less on the goal scoring, but still over 3 goals a game, still way under a goal conceded at 0.56. getting on for 19 shots a game, a pass completion of 87.03, so a little bit higher than Liverpool, and attacker win ratio, this time, edging towards 80%, but to be accurate, 79.80. Don't always feel like I cater for the lower league viewers of mine that do have really low down saves, so we're going to test with Hastings today, very low down in the English divisions, and a team predicted to finish 7th, I believe, and we enjoyed a fantastic season, picking up 104 points in the league, only losing 2 games, which are going to be against Luez and Potter's Bar, 2 really well-known teams, obviously. And do you know what? In terms of the stats as well, it was very promising. 114 goals scored, 42 conceded, 1 red card, but please bear in mind that obviously in these divisions, the players haven't got as good decision-making, as good composure, and they've typically got quite a bit of aggression as well. It's going to be Walters picking up 31 goals and Nathan Jenkins picking up 22 assists. And Stuart Jackson, I believe a regen or definitely a new player coming in with a 92% pass completion. Very interesting to test right down in the league like this because it gives a completely different insight on how this tactic can work. And it just proves you can play with a really high intense tactic even in these leagues. In terms of the stats, so we're not going to be too dominant in a lot of them. It is going to be 3, which we are going to feature in the most points, the most goals, the most shots for, and possession-wise, we are going to have 56% of the ball, which is quite good considering this is the opposite of a possession tactic, to be honest with you. But this just goes to show, even with a low league team, you can get these results. So it's still worth a shot, even if you're playing with a team like Hastings. Going over to the data hub, we are going to be looking at 2.71 goals per game, a conceded at just 1, which is really impressive, getting on towards 18 shots, or not really, 17.5 shots a game, and 85.65 pass completion, and attacker win ratio of 77.46. Now we're going to hit rock bottom in the Bundesliga 2 with a team called Elversberg. I believe that's how you say that. They are predicted to finish literally rock bottom, 18th place, the worst team in this league by the game standard, not slating anyone that does support them, and we have completely reversed that script, and we actually won the league. Now, it wasn't the most prettiest results. We did draw 9 games, we lost 7 games, we didn't score tons of goals, but it just goes to show you can get the job done with a serious underdog in the league. Our top goal scorer only scored 11, though I will say one of our players did get signed, so obviously we're going to lose some stats there. But overall, very impressive how this went, considering how bad this team actually is. So, just to include that in the video as well. It is, however, featuring quite a few of the stats, despite being quite a poor rated team. Most points per game, the most shots, the fewest shots against, the most dribbles made in this league. 20 more than, obviously, Hertha Berlin, a very good team in this league as well. Fewest conceded at 21, and the most clean sheets coming in at 18. Data Hub is going to look very, very low, but do take into account this is a really low standard team. 1.44 goals per game. Very impressed with how few we conceded, actually, at 0.62. Bang on 14 shots per game, an 87% pass completion, and attacker win ratio of 77.18. We had some really big games with this Liverpool team, and one of them is going to be that European final against Roma, where we got off to a fantastic start with a great free kick from McAllister. And again, this final was very easily won because of the real quick start we got at the game. 30 minutes in, and we're already going to be 2-0 up, as it's going to be a great ball into McAllister again, who is simply on fire in this cup final. Roma did go down to 10 men right at the end, but we scored our 3rd goal to pretty much wrap up the deal before that red card come in. A great bit of link-up play from the left to the middle, and an even better finish from Salah. The thing about this tactic as well is you have got that element of the game where you can absolutely pace teams, because it is quite an attacking 4-3-3 with an injured Salah there inside of 15 minutes, and it is going to be big Darwin Núñez picking up a goal inside of 15 minutes of one of 6 goals of this game, as we are going to get a good insight on where the goals come from and what you can expect to see. As you can see there again, it's going to instantly, it's quite amazing how quickly it goes from the right-hand side directly into the box, and Darwin Núñez again had a fantastic season. 41 goals, by the way, absolutely incredible. At this point, I don't know why Salah is still on the field, but if he's getting assists like that, I'm not going to take him off. A fantastic header from Diaz there again. Trent in the middle to Endo, into McAllister, into Diaz, out on the left-hand side. Questionable goalkeeping. I will say questionable goalkeeping, but we've got to take it as now Robertson puts the ball in, backstick into Virgil. And again, the set pieces, I've seen a few comments on these. FM Scout channel, check out the video I posted on there, guys, because they absolutely cook. And the last goal is going to be from Trent. I thought it was going to go in directly, but it's a great goal from Jones. I'm going over to your favourite part of the video. That is going to be the tactic breakdown. If you're enjoying the video so far, be sure to leave a like, drop a little subscription, and also leave a comment on any tactics you want to see in the future. And if you enjoy live streams, you can come over and check mine out on the screen right now. There is tons of stuff going on, and you're going to love it. I also do want to say, I'm going to put it up on the screen right now. We've currently got a giveaway going on the Patreon for a copy of FM24 and a mystery shirt, a joint bundle, so you get the game and a mystery shirt, which can choose your first save. And also with the Patrons, you get over another 7 perks, also including that giveaway. So you get early tactic release, early video release, access to all 3 of the variants today. You get priority on your requests, one-on-one tactical help, and much more. Definitely worth checking out just for the giveaway alone, by the way, which all tiers can enter, which starts at about £2. So a very cheap entry. You can check it out in the description below and get involved right there. But let's go over and go through these tactics. So, we're going to kick things off then with this right here. The goalkeeper is simply going to be on a defensive duty. Again, nothing too special with Alisson right there. I wouldn't say he's much of a sweeper keeper really, so that is why we have gone with that. The inverted wing-back is going to be designed for Trent. Obviously, mixture between playing in that midfield and playing in that right-back. So for me, this works really well because he's naturally going to almost be playing here. Now, you can drift this anchor out on the left-hand side if you wanted to. But for me, because this player pushes up anyway in the midfield, he sort of just replaces the gap we have there. Next to him is going to be a central defender, simply on a default instructions, alongside of a default ball-playing defender on defend. So far it's the default of the default, but it's for a reason, it works. Simple as that. The fullback on the left is going to be on support. Again, no custom instructions because I'm not directly sending him up the field to attack, so I didn't really feel a need to change him. And this back four is now a nice mixture of... And the fullbacks do get involved, not to the point where, like, they're constantly up the field. The centre-backs are nice and reserved, but can play a ball around. And it's just a really good back four. Nice and stable. In the middle, we're going to go with an anchor, who is going to be on defend. Again, you could use, for example, if you haven't got an anchor, you could go with roles such as a defensive midfield player, a ball-winning midfield player. But, in my opinion, the anchor is the best option if you've got a player that can use that. Going up the field, we've got a central midfield player on support, a very good and very crucial role in the team because he is essentially the player that is going to pick up the ball and look to progress the passes. He's not too attacking as in his positioning, but he does try and make progressive passes and get the play going. He's going to be on take more risks and roam from position. Next to him is going to be a default advanced playmaker. Yes, you could use a Mezzala, but I did opt for the AP, so I thought it was a little bit more relevant to the current Liverpool team. And again, no additional instructions because the default ones he gets are exactly what he's to be doing anyway. On the right-hand side is going to be the Mo Salah role, hence why he is going to be on shoot more often, because he can cut in and have a crack at goal. And you saw by the stats, he got 40 goals, obviously across all competitions, so clearly this worked very, very well. So an inside forward on attack, on shoot more often, and also stay wider. And on the left-hand side, it's going to be your Diaz. He's going to be on stay wider, not shoot more often because he's not as good, you know, at cutting in and taking shots at goal like a Mo Salah, but still a very good winger. That being said, and to finish it off, it is going to be your Darwin Núñez, your Darwizzy, the pressing forward who is simply going to be on attack. I'm going over to them team instructions, and we are going to start off with an attacking mentality. And by the way, this is based off a custom counter-attack style. Just to clarify that, an attacker mentality because it is a very Jurgen Klopp-based tactic, and again, he's a very aggressive manager. We're going to go into pass into space. We are going to go with a shorter passing directness. Again, it's not a tiki-taka tactic, but just having this on alongside of that pass into space provides the perfect mixture between not lumping the ball up like a relegation team, but passing the ball about sensibly, but when you need to go direct, we did do so, as you saw in the highlights, and we'll do see so more with the Borussia Dortmund highlights. We are going to go with a higher tempo when it comes to that, because again, Jurgen Klopp is known for this high intense pressing game, alongside of low crosses on this occasion, and also run at defence. So it is going to be a very aggressive, high pressing, counter-attacking machine. Pretty much sums up Jurgen Klopp. Going over to the in transition tab, you probably could expect the instructions, but it is going to be the counter-pressing style, counter when the ball has been won, distribute quickly, and also roll the ball out. So nothing too what you'd be liking to expect, to be honest. You'd be expecting a lot of this stuff. Obviously, it's going to be pressing, it's going to be counter-attacking, and we are going to be very risk-free when it comes to rolling the ball out. Simply get it to Van Dijk and then progress the ball up the field, nice and simple. So essentially, this tactic is going to require quite a fair bit of a a certain player to mould to this system. Let's say a lot of the Liverpool players have got to be naturally fit, so have your players. So make sure you've got the right training in place, make sure you're going to have good rotation, good depth as well, and make sure you're resting players, because you can play like this. We managed it with Hastings, but you just got to manage your squad correctly. Lastly, the out of possession tab, we are going to go with the high pressing line of engagement, a standard line. Now you could say, Josh, it's going to be a higher line, and yes, potentially it could be, but with the default variant, again, I do make sure these tactics get good results, so we have gone with a standard line, because playing this way across an entire season with that higher line simply did not work as well. We are, however, going to go with a much more often on the trigger press. We've got to prevent short goalkeeper distribution, because we've got Darwin Núñez, that is literally his job. We're going to get stuck in, and also, of course, we are going to step up with that defensive line, and that is going to complete your first variant of today. But do stick around, because we have got an attacking and an away game variant coming up very shortly. If you are a Patreon, you can download them all very simply in one simple download in about 5 seconds, but I carry on including them in the videos because I want you guys to have that option to obviously watch them and understand why they're in here, what they do, and where you should apply them. We're going to watch the semi and the final of the Pokal with this Dortmund team, and this was a very impressive game because Leipzig finished second in the German league, so they had a very good season, and to dismantle them in 4-0 fashion just shows how good we actually were playing with this system. A very well suited tactic for this Dortmund team, I must say. And to be fair to RB Leipzig, probably a very memorable season for them dominating Bayern Munich like that. Against us, 2-0 in the first half, 3-0 going to come in very shortly after that second half whistle, and Ademi nearly potentially scored one of the best goals I've ever seen at FM there. Unfortunately, cracks off the bar. We do get in the rebound though, as we go down the right-hand side of the field, through to Donny Marlon, takes on his man, and it's embarrassing from the Leipzig back line. But this is what I like to call a final for content. It is going to be a 3-2 win, a very dramatic final in the Pokal against Freiburg. Not a bad little team in the Bundesliga. We actually got off to a very good start inside of 14 minutes. Questionable how much space we had to run into there, but we're not going to complain at all, as it is not going to be Ryanson cutting it back into Marlon, into Ademi. And at this point, I thought, do you know what? The game's done. So I'm going to be honest, I went a little bit more attacking to try and just write the final off, and we paid the price a little bit, so definitely don't do that, as they do get a very good goal from a set piece here, to be fair. We simply couldn't clear it. It's a great little finish there. Maybe Cabell could have done a little bit better, but again, it's our fault for going this attacking. And at this point, I was getting a little bit worried, so I'm glad we got this goal with Ademi. That is going to be 3-1. They don't go home without scoring another goal, though, as it does come in way too late on into the game. In the 87th minute, it's going to be Eggstein in Solari, I believe is how you say that. And again, a decent performance from them, but we deserved the win. We won the final. It's perfect. Of course, as I did mention, we are going to have an attacking variant, and this is to be used when you're a goal down, not when you're 2-0 up in a cup final, just to clarify that. This is perfect for just making this 4-3-3 a little bit more attacking minded and obviously pushing for that goal you desperately need. The goalkeeper is going to remain exactly the same. The inverted wingback is going to go on to attack, and you can see the mass amount of instructions he now gathers, and he's going to be a very influential part of this team now when it comes to getting a goal. Now, we are going to have a central defender on cover, just to obviously sit a little bit deeper, because we now do have a ball-playing defender on the stopper role. And that's essentially to have one of these centre-backs really coming out to stop him, pretty much get the ball back quicker and get the ball back to us, where we can hopefully go and counter-attack and get a goal. The fullback on the left is now going to be on attack, on run wide, and also stay wider. And going over to the midfield, it is going to be a register. Again, a bit more of a progressive sort of DM midfield player. A very supportive role that is actually going to help get chances going forward. A box-to-box is going to come in, which it does suit Szoboszlai. That's a tongue twister. Down to an absolute T. On take more risks and get further forwards. The advanced playmaker is going to come in on attack, but he's going to get further forwards as well. So essentially what we've done is we've kept a lot of the same roles because we don't want to change the DNA of this team. But we have made them a lot more aggressive, a lot more intense, because we are trying to really kill off the game or get back into a game. The inverted winger on the left is going to simply be on the default, and on the right, it's going to be an inside forward on attack, on shoot more often, and also stay wider, with that pressing forward now going to attack, and also being on the default instruction. So, just a much more attack and sort of base 4-3-3, where you basically your fullbacks, especially the inverted wingback, is almost going to play in this area of the field here, which is going to replace... It's going to shape up quite interestingly, actually, because what's going to happen is this advanced playmaker is going to push up into this area here. The inverted wingback is obviously going to cover that area here, or sort of in this pocket here. So you are always going to have almost like an extra player in attack purely based off this right-hand side. So it is a big change. So that's why I always recommend you get all three. Possession, there are going to be some changes, but I will just read them out. It's going to be pass into space. We're going to overlap left. We're going to underlap right. And the real big difference is going to be the be more expressive. Everything else remains relatively similar, but the underlap, the overlap, and the be more expressive are going to be the three additions. And again, it's simply to make this tactic as attacking as possible. Transition, it's going to be basically the same or the same, so I'm not going to waste your time on that one. But as you can see, it's naturally attacking, no tweaks were needed. Out of possession, the real big change and the only change is going to be that higher defensive line. Now, the reason why I didn't play this throughout an entire season is because I did notice alongside of the step up more, we were getting counter-attacked a lot and we were very vulnerable in behind. But if you are trying to chase a game, you're desperate for a goal, I feel like you should, you've got to know you're going to be more vulnerable at the back playing this way. But if you need a goal, you need a goal, so up the higher line. Going over to the away variant, slash defensive, but I'm not going to name it like that because I would more say this is suited for sort of, playing a big away team like a Man City, like a Manchester United, no jokes in the comments, etc, etc. And we are going to kick things off with the goalkeeper, who is going to remain the same. The inverted wing-back is going to drop back to the supportive duty, and in fact this back line remains exactly the same, apart from the fullback on the left, who is now going to be on support, but on get further forwards. These two players remain the same, and the inverted wingback exactly the same as the default variant. The anchor remains untouched, but with one addition actually, so he doesn't remain untouched. I did forget almost. He's going to be on mark tighter, so the mindset behind this midfield is to be a lot more sort of man-marking based, to really try and, eliminate any players that could be sort of talismans on the other team, really get in their heads and control them sort of players. Because again, if you're playing a big away team, they're going to have some key players, so marking them, making them frustrated is a good way to go. Hence why the central midfield player is going to be on support, but also on mark tighter, and the advanced playmaker is going to remain, but on support on this occasion, simply on the default. On the right-hand side, we're not going to change Salah because he's our talisman. That is going to be an inside forward on attack, on shoot more often, and also stay wider. An inverted winger on the left on support, simply on stay wider. He's on support because this fullback is going to get further forward, so I didn't want to overkill the left-hand side. And the pressing forward is simply going to be on support. In terms of the team instructions, we are going to go on a balanced mentality, and a few things are going to change. A few things, one real big change, that is going to be the slightly shorter. We're not going to play it with a max tempo. We're still going to want it quite high because it is a Klopp tactic, but potentially against these away teams, we're going to play a little bit more calmer because we don't want to go 100 miles an hour into a game against like Man City, because they're going to pass the ball around, they're going to tire us out quite quickly, so playing with a little bit of a lower tempo is quite sensible. Transition, we're going to remain on the counter press, we're going to remain on the counter. We're not going to distribute quickly because there's no real rush against a team like Man City, because I've noticed with this, I like having distribute quickly on, and I think it is a very good instruction, but sometimes, and it is rare, you will make mistakes. And lastly, that is not what you want in a game against Man City. That is the last thing I could think any player would want. And we are simply going to roll the ball out to anyone across the back line or to the playmakers. And out of possession, we're going to go with that standard line, the high pressing line of engagement, more often on the press, so we've toned it down a little bit. We're still going to apply pressure on their goalkeeper. And of course, we're going to get stuck in, but we are not going to step up more with that defensive line. And that is going to give you guys 3 fantastic variants of Klopp's 4-3-3. I do apologise about the delay on this because he's a very popular manager with a very popular team, but hopefully you guys did enjoy it. If you have, be sure to leave a like, be sure to subscribe as well, and keep the comments coming on any recommendations you have. You can also join the Discord you can see on the screen, probably a better place to request videos as well, and personally ask away with any questions. But I'll see you in the next one, and enjoy the rest of your day. And if you guys did enjoy today's video, here are going to be a couple more videos I'm sure you're going to love. Down here, you're going to see my previous video, and here is going to be a video I personally recommend for you guys to check out. Trust me, you're going to love it.